Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into today's GovReports webinar. For today's sessions, we have, it's exactly 5 o'clock, so we'll officially start. For today's sessions, we have the pleasure of having Jason McGillray as our presenter, who will share with us about the features and services of GovReports that work for Jason and his clients. Jason will demonstrate of how he uses the platform and be more efficient. Before I hand over the control to Jason to ensure that technology is working for everyone here, can I get a raise of hands if you can hear me? Thanks, Roger. Okay, cool. I think if you can't hear me, just check your dashboard, the microphone and the testing your computer. This session is recorded and will be posted on the GovReports website on the webinars calendars page after the session. So if you missed a little bit here or there because of the internet or whatever reasons, you can always revisit the sessions at your convenience. During the session, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to send it through so we can come back to you during the questions time. So over to you, Jason.
Thank you very much, Tiana, and yeah, welcome to today's webinar. As Tiana said, my name's Jason, and I'll be taking you through the webinar today. So I hope you've all had a good day, and hopefully we'll make this as enjoyable as possible for you as we sort of end today. Yep. Okay. Great. So now everyone can see my screen. That's fantastic. So I think most of you are sort of new to GovReports, so I welcome you to the platform, and yeah, we hope you enjoy getting to know the app. As Tiana said, she's going to monitor the questions, so if anyone has a question throughout the webinar, please send them through, and we'll address them as they come through, or at the end of the webinar. Yeah, so basically with GovReports and the topic of this webinar, it's about being a smooth operator, and for your practice, it basically means that your practice is going to be smooth sailing. So what we mean by that is that your staff is operating smoothly. From a bigger perspective, your practice is operating smoothly, and you also have your workflow is going smoothly also. So yeah, that all combined, we see that GovReports is an ideal platform for your practice to be smooth sailing as such. So there's many ways to achieve this, and hopefully, through the webinar, through the next 50 minutes, we'll be able to show you a few ways on how the platform can assist. So when you first log into GovReports, the first screen you'll see is what we call the Bird's View dashboard, and this has a number of options or a number of reports on it. That gives you access to some really good information straight up. So as soon as you log in, you can see some really great information about your clients and the client work at the moment, and your calendar for today and the rest of the week, as well as some other reports in relation to tax returns that are due, etc. So if we just have a look at this menu on the top right-hand side, this little menu bar here, this gives you the opportunity to actually customize your dashboard. So you can have all these options on your dashboard, or only select a few. Most of these are very relevant, but you might actually choose to actually only have a few on there at one time for brevity. But we'll quickly just have a look at the options here and quickly show you what's available. So the first report at the top here. Just wait till that reappears, and so that first report at the top, it shows you a list of the jobs, so today's jobs, as well as overdue jobs and jobs upcoming. All right. Yeah, so one thing I just should have mentioned at the start of the webinar is that this is actually a testing account, and so it does, unfortunately, it is a bit slower than the actual, if you signed up your account, which would be a lot faster than what we've got in front of us. So I do apologise for the delay. But as I said, yeah, so this one here, the top one here gives today's jobs. Next one, if you click across the tab, overdue jobs, and the next tab is upcoming jobs. And you'll actually see that we got 4 jobs there for Fulbright Trust, and they're all according to bases. So what I've done, I've actually created recurring jobs, and so they're the jobs for the 4 bases that are going to be due, for the next 4 quarters. Yeah, so good feature of Gov Reports where you can actually set up recurring jobs. Just quickly moving through here, so we've got a calendar, and you can actually choose, so when you set up jobs, you can actually choose to have those newly created jobs directly added to your calendar. And the other thing is that this calendar, so if you use Google Calendar, that can then be integrated with this calendar. So you'll see both your other diarised or calendar events along with the Gov Reports jobs. Just quickly moving through, so we've got a few other bits and pieces here. We've got outstanding reports, and in here we've got the overdue reports. Peter Phelan has got some overdue, or an overdue tax return that needs to be lodged. And we'll just quickly scrolling down here. So this one I really like, the one in the middle, where it's got a listing of a snapshot of the SAFE reports and lodge reports. And the one across here on the right-hand side shows us the signed reports, or reports out there that have gone out to the client for digital signature. So the other thing I feature, I just wanted to just quickly show you here. The other tab on the top of the dashboard is gives a job summary. So basically, it just lets you know, jobs that are scheduled, and jobs that have past the deadline date. And we'll just quickly have a look at that. Yeah, so we've got some jobs that are open. So we've got some jobs that are ready to start here. And it's nicely in this this sort of chart here. So it's easy to visualize, easy to understand, and easy to quickly see. So they're coming in at the start of the day, and you'll quickly see the jobs that are open, jobs that are in process, etc., etc. So the other really nifty feature that I just wanted to show you here is there's actually a built-in CRM in Gov Reports. It's a very simple CRM, but I think it's very very beneficial and very easy to use. And if you're like me, I'm always out there trying to look for the clients, and this gives a really great way of tracking, tracking your leads, and then as they're converted into clients, it's an easy process to then bring them on board. So I'll actually just quickly show you where that sits, and it's a very, very simple process to bring in the leads. So essentially here we've got, this is telling us that we've got 5 leads currently, which is pretty good. And so then it's just a case of clicking on those leads and then following up as necessary. We do have templates as part of the app, which you can use to then actually send out to these leads. So just say for instance, you spoke to this lead and they were interested in coming on board. You could actually then over here change the client status, and you can kind of change them to an active client. Vice versa, if they weren't interested on coming on board, you could just click them to lost and change that client to lost, and then you would, and then it's recorded in the system as that is no longer a lead. So it's a great way of actually tracking tracking that client. Yeah, so just moving on. We spoke about the job summary there on the dashboard as part of the Birdsview dashboard. And the other thing we'll look at today is the ATO lodgement reports. So just quickly, the 5 features that I just want to cover today. So one-click practice reports, so practice settings, practice setup, and practice reports. The other thing I want to look at is, or we're going to look at, is the ATO reports. That's a fantastic feature of Gov reports. All new iReturns that we've got. So from the 2020 year, we actually, before the 2020 become active, we actually revamped and refreshed our whole iReturn, and I can introduce you to some of those new changes that we did actually introduce before July last year. And the fourth thing is the company return, so we'll just briefly touch on that. And the fifth thing is digital authentication. So it's and the app that we've got that hooks into Gov reports, digital signature, and I'll show you how that briefly works. And okay, so just moving on. So we're going to look at some practice tools. And so in those, we're going to look at the tools to manage your clients and tools to manage your staff. We're going to look at jobs and recurring tasks. Briefly touch on time and billings, invoices, and as I mentioned before, letters and templates. Following on from that, obviously that then leads into the reports that are available, and we've just had a look at a few of those on the. My apologies for that. Yeah, so we just actually briefly had a look at some of the reports that are available in Gov reports on that Birdsview dashboard, but we'll actually go a bit further again in a few minutes, where we'll have a look at a few of these other reports, the job time detail report, staff report, running time report, and most importantly the invoice report, because we want to make sure that money keeps on coming in the door and we get the bills out. So we'll just have a look at tools to. We'll have a look at the jobs first off. Under jobs, there's actually a number of templates you can use to more efficiently manage the workflow. You can actually set up what we call job templates. We'll just quickly have a look at some of those that have been set up. Just while that's happening, so you can actually so we set up job templates, and we can actually set up task templates, and then sitting under the task template is a checklist template. So basically, when you're preparing your tax return, you can have so for example here you've got a job template for an income tax return, and then sitting under that are the tasks that I've set up for the income tax return job template. So here's a few of some tasks that you can go through in the preparation of the tax return. So obviously send the client questionnaire, review those questionnaire answers, answer data, etc. And then underneath that, you can have a series of checklists for under each task. So it just systemizes that process of preparing the tax return to ensure that your staff are preparing it according to the workflow that you like them to follow. And there's a standard workflow for each particular task, so whether it's or job. So whether it's a tax return, bookkeeping job, BAS job, so you set up job templates. Then underneath that job template, you can have a series of tasks. So then when you go to actually create the job, there's a ready-made set of tasks associated with that job type. The other thing I'd just like to jump in and show you, and show you in terms of managing the clients and how that then sort of fits in with creating jobs. And there's a couple of, well, there's a fair few really nifty, cool features that are part of Gov Reports. Make this job, that make the task of managing clients and processing jobs and completing jobs a lot more efficiently, and gives you actually that chance at the end of the compliance job to then add a bit of value after completing it. So we just wait for that client dashboard to appear. Okay, so let's just, we'll take Linda Stevens, for example. She's an individual client and we prepare her individual tax return. So just under I'll just quickly go through this menu bar up here and just explain a couple of really cool features as part of it. So obviously here we've got an overview of Linda's details. And then we've got some tax returns that are in process, tax returns that have been lodged. And we'll scroll across here. So under jobs and invoices, here's the 2 current jobs that we're currently working on. Here's any letters that we've sent out. We haven't actually sent we should have actually sent her a engagement letter, but we haven't got around to that yet. So you can actually set reminders or appointments for that client. And then under here, you can actually add a file note. So whether it's, you could say, for example, Linda is a nurse. And then that just records that file note there, records the date, obviously the time. So it's an really easy way of recording notes against the client. And if you're having a conversation with them and you want to make a couple of quick notes, you can easily put that against the client in Gov Reports. The other things you can actually do, you can add some attachments. And you'd actually upload those to either Google Drive or Dropbox. And there are instructions in Gov Reports if you don't know how to use those apps. There's certainly instructions on there. We'll be happy to help you set those up for you. So there's a couple of really cool features on here in terms of the client and the client management. So just in terms of creating a job, again, it's very straightforward. Just a case of going up here and then create a job, and then you would enter all these details in here, and then you allocate that to a particular staff member, and then you would actually you can actually manually add tasks, or you can then connect the task templates up with this particular job type. So we've got task templates for income tax return. We can then connect those to Linda's tax return, and they will then populate under her job. So just in terms of the workflow, I just wanted to actually give you a brief overview of what you come in, you turn the computer on first thing in the morning, and so the process you would actually go through, from when you turn the computer on. So there's a couple of ways you can actually look at your day. I mean, obviously you could look at your calendar on the dashboard. You can actually look at your outstanding jobs, which are sitting in this little report here on the Birds View template. Expand that, and you could say to yourself, well, Okay, so here's the outstanding reports as at today, and you can work out which one you want members of your team to tackle to try and get completed. The other way you could go about it is that you could actually go under here under My Practice and click on Jobs, and you can select My Jobs. So this is actually jobs that are allocated, that you've allocated to yourself. If you do some of the actual work. And so you get your, on the dashboard, you've got a global view of your practice, and under jobs, you've got a view of just your jobs. So, jobs for myself that I'm looking at the moment. Again, I would sort of assess which ones of these are a priority for today. You can have a look at when they were scheduled, so when we actually put them in the system, or you can look at the jobs from the deadline date. So those ones that are obviously due sooner rather than later. You obviously could sort by the job type, or you could sort by the client name. So then we've got, we sort by client name. You can see that, we've got operate private, we've got a BAS there to do, and we've got a company tax return to do. So there's a couple of ways of actually, when you start your day, when you're trying to plan, plan what your priorities and plan the priorities for your staff. You might have, you look at the outstanding jobs on the dashboard, or you might look at your jobs under My Practice. A couple of other things I just want to quickly show you before we look at the actual reports. So I touched on templates and letters earlier, and I just wanted to dig a bit deeper into that. So we've actually set up a few different templates and letters already for you, and they include a sample engagement letter, and we'll just wait for those to populate. And so what as we now now we're the 17th of March, we're now actually in terms of the practice, we're sort of now thinking towards the end of June. So it's probably a really good idea to either start thinking about tax planning, or actually sending out a letter out to your tax return clients, your iReturn clients, salary and wage clients, that to get them sort of thinking about preparing their 2021. Wow, okay, 2021 tax return. So, and you might like to send out a bit of a drip feed type letter, maybe once at the start of April, and then another one at the start of May, another one at the start of June. So I guess it's, then you start to become top of mind in terms of your client and them getting their tax return done at the start of July. And the goal there is to actually encourage them to make an appointment with you, in the first couple of weeks of June, so that they, for July. So we've got some templates here. So we've got an ethical letter, a proposal, which obviously you could send to those clients that that are on your leads list. We've also got, as I said before, an engagement letter, and we've also got an STP letter of authority. So any of these letters, they can be customised to your practice. But we've got really good templates there. So you might think to yourself, well, this content here is perfectly suits me, and they can be sent out pretty much as is with some customization. Now, the other thing you might like to think about is that obviously the tax deadline for those clients that have got to a May 15th tax returns due. It might be a worthwhile idea to prepare a standard letter and send one out to your clients, just to remind them their tax return is the deadline is approaching. So just one other thing I just wanted to look at was the reports available in GovReports. So obviously one of the key ones is the invoice report. So we'll have a quick squeeze a quick at these very quickly. Yeah, so there's a good range of reports here, just in terms of staff, time. So the invoice report, it gives us a good overview of the invoices generated for a period. So in this circumstance, we've got a report for the month of March up to today. Obviously gives a total amount that we've invoiced. So that's a great report there. The other reports that we've got a report based on jobs. And so we'll just have a look at this particular job here. This was a tax return job that I was working on, and yeah, so this basically just gives you the a rundown of the time that's spent on this particular job. The employee, so in this case it was myself, the time spent, and the amount based on the charge out rate. And just one other thing, the staff time detail report. So again, just shows that it just gives an overview of the time that the employee has spent on a particular job. So in this case, I've spent billable time, so it's 2 hours on this Linda Stevens tax return. So there's a bit of work in that, but there's also two tax returns in this for this client, and so on and so forth for Mark Brown and Peter Ealing. So again, it gives the partner or the director or the sole practitioner a chance to have a look at the jobs and the work that a particular staff member has done on those jobs. So you might like to come up to the end of the month and sort of look at these reports and try to work out which jobs have gone well and which jobs could be improved. They may also highlight sort of bottlenecks or areas where a staff member might be having a bit of difficulty in terms of particular tax work. So we'll quickly move on. We'll look at the ATO services that are So we'll look at the ATO services that are as part of Gov Reports, and it gives you really good access to it gives you the ability to change the information with the tax office directly through Gov Reports. So you don't actually need to go into the ATO portal to do that, or online services, as it's now called. You can do it directly in Gov Reports, and I'll just shortly I'll just show you how that can be done for a few different features. And the other thing I just wanted to introduce you to is some of the excellent reports in Gov Reports for ATO related data or information. So say for example, ATO lodgement reports, just there in the top section. So I can, things like we've got an outstanding report for all clients, and we've got another report called the Save reports. So basically those reports that are in work in progress, so to speak. And also we've got the outstanding reports feature. So there's a few things there that we'll just quickly look at. But all right, so we'll jump back into the app and we'll have a look at those. So the ATO services first slide that we just had a look at just before, where we looked at those different types of services that we can, the information that we can change with the tax office directly through Gov Reports. And I'll just give an illustration of how that can actually be done with some of these features. So say for example, we wanted to change the client's, So for example, we wanted to change the client's address and contact details with the tax office. So we can directly do that through here. And I'll just show you how you do that. So in this menu bar up here on the top right-hand side, if you just click on this drop-down arrow, we click and we can client address. And it just takes a little bit of time to connect to the ATO. But whilst that's happening, so here we go. So we can actually just change the address for the integrated client account. So just click this edit button here, and we can then go ahead and do that. We can also update the client's bank account details. We can issue or send to the tax office notification that a tax return is not due for a particular year, which is obviously another time-saving feature. The other thing I want to point out is that you can actually you can check the ATO integrated client account running balance for a particular client, and that's again through this menu button top right hand side, ATO services, and click on the drop down and ATO accounts. And to that, you'll click on the synchronise accounts button here. But because this is not a live, this is in a testing environment, we can't actually pull that data in. But what it does actually give you, it gives you the ability to actually see in this screen when it's live that integrated client account transactions. So each transaction for when the BAS is lodged, so the GST, the PAYG, and the running balance. So again, a great time-saving feature. You don't necessarily then have to jump into online services to look at this data. It's right there in front of you. So if you can actually, the other thing you can do is actually import clients from the ATO portal into here. So that's through this menu up here, import menu from the ATO. And you can actually drag these particular details across into GovReports. Again, you would just click on import, and that data would then be brought across. So this report it tells us that three client records have been brought across. It says it's filed, but normally that's just because it's in a testing environment. So normally that comes across quite smoothly. Yeah, so the other thing, the other thing I just wanted to introduce you to is the reports under this My Lodgements menu on the left-hand side. And one of the great features that I mentioned earlier was this activity statement summary report down here. And the value in this is that if you're a bookkeeper and you're trying to prepare the year-end work for the accountant that does the client work, you can then run this report. So then in this case, we'll select the Salino client, and if you will select 18, and this is just for the demo. Yeah, so if you're a BAS agent, you can then run this report. So we'll click on generate, and then it gives you a summary that you can then send to your accountant or send to the client's accountant. That will tell them the total GST, whether there's any FBT paid, and the net paid. So again, it's a time-saving feature that that the accountant will love. So vice versa, the accountant can then obviously log in and then download this report. Again, it will give them a summary of the activity statement or activity details or integrated client account details for the year. Yeah, so say for example this with this client, it'll tell you what the total figure for G1, total here, which is then made up of, so for example, September. But normally you actually see September, December, March and June. So you see the figures for 1A, 1B, etc., etc. and then you'll get a summary figure up here. So, and then you can also download this report. So then you can email it to, well, you can attach it to your work papers, or if you're the bookkeeper, you can then email that to the client's accountant. Yeah, so it's great for both a time-saving feature. It improves it in the reconciliation process. Certainly, it's a neat summary here, rather than actually having to go through the the listing of integrated client account transactions for the 12 months. It's all laid out and beautifully presented in front of you. So yeah, excellent feature. And I'll just quickly run over a couple of these other ones here. So we've got save reports, and basically this is telling us the reports are income tax return, BASs, STP reports that we've created, we've saved, but then they haven't been lodged. So as you see here, they're all in draft status. They've been validated. One has been signed. And you'll see actually on the right-hand side, so we can actually access that report via this open button here. So again, with Linda Stevens, which we've talked about before, we can then open that up. Just open that up quickly. And then you can access that tax return that way. So yeah, as I mentioned at the start, one of the great things about Good Gov Reports is that extremely flexible. So you can actually get to where you want to many different ways, and there's many different. So here's the tax return that we clicked on originally that was in that Save Reports menu. So we clicked Open on the right-hand side, and then from there it's then taken us to the report alongside the client, and then we've opened that up, and it's given us this tax return in front of us. So we'll just close that. Yes, we'll close that. And we'll go back to the Save Reports. And the other feature I'll just mention to you is the Outstanding Reports. So basically, these are the reports that are well overdue. So they do, it's worthwhile to look at this regularly and to keep on top of it. Again, this is a report that we looked at on the dashboard. So we looked at this on the Bird's Eye, or the Bird's View dashboard. And here, Outstanding Reports. So again, it's the same listing. It's just under this menu under the My Lodgements menu under Outstanding Reports. Again, you can access the listing many different ways. So yeah, again, extremely flexible, and it just gives you again the ability to see these, see what's outstanding, and then to take action. So the other report, we've got an employee or contractor report. So that's the TPAR report that some of your clients may need to lodge. Yeah, so excellent range of reports there. The other feature I just wanted to quickly mention, we had a question just come through overnight about having the tax file number on the tax return, and whether we can actually, whether GovReports has the ability to remove that the tax file number from the tax return for security purposes. And you can actually, we do actually have the ability to do that, but it's not the default. So when we actually, we're in the process of preparing or creating the 2021 tax returns now, and as part of that, we're actually, by default for the 2021 tax returns, the tax file number will not show on the tax return. So you'll actually have to go into the settings for that client and then tick that box that says to show the tax return. So at the moment, the tax return, the tax file number is showing by default, on the tax return, but you can actually opt to remove that. But from 2021, it will be removed by default. It won't be there. You'll actually have to turn it on. So I hope that sort of makes sense around that the TFN and it being on the tax return for security purposes or be turned off, etc., etc. So as I mentioned, yeah, and the fourth thing I just wanted to cover here was the what we've done with the iReturns, and you know, when we actually introduced these changes for the 2020 tax return. So many, you know, we've had really good feedback from clients in terms of the changes that we have actually made, and they've been sort of definitely enjoyed those, those adjustments. And what they mean now is that the tax return is far more flexible and far more robust. Will actually, and it actually gives you some further options in terms of how you actually get the client data into the tax return. I'll actually show you a notepad that we've added to the tax return, which gives you the option to actually add notes. As you work through the tax return, to add notes to this notepad, and then you can actually download that notepad. Download that file, a set of notes, and then send that to the client. And I'll let you know about an important change that we've made to the income tax estimate. And the final thing I just wanted to introduce you to was the digital signature and the download. So we'll quickly again jump into the app and have a look at the tax return. And for that purpose, we're just going to look at Mark Brown, and we'll have a look at his. And we know that if you go back this way, and we'll have a look at Mark Brown, see if he's listed here. And there we are. So we go to his client profile, and that way we can see all his tax returns. And that's the one I was looking for, the 2020 tax return. And we'll just open this up, and I'll just quickly show you some of those features I just mentioned. So the different changes that we've sort of made. Yeah, so just briefly as we're waiting for that to open. Yes, so a few of the things that we've actually done, we've actually included the tax estimate at the top of every page. So previously it was actually only on the main page, which sort of meant that users had to actually scroll back every time to see that tax estimate. So we've actually put that on every page, so that as you're working through the tax return, and sorry, my apologies, we're just waiting for this to appear. Yes, as you're working through the tax return, you're adding adding income, you're adding deductions, then you actually see the tax estimate change accordingly. We've actually separated and removed some of the schedules and added some other worksheets, which makes the whole preparation process far more efficient.
I think you meant to go for the valid draft, to go to the save reports that you've done.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah, so one of the other aspects that I mentioned about the tax return was that basically we've given you some more options in terms of getting that data into the tax return. So whether it's your ATO pre-filled data or whether you roll that data over into from the previous year. So you can either turn that on or turn that off, that feature. In terms of the pre-filled data, so up the top right hand side here, you can either automatically bring that pre-filled data into the tax return, and that involves just GovReports will actually drag the pre-filled data automatically into the tax return. The other thing you can do is actually manually pre-fill. So I suppose, you download the file from the ATO online services and then re-upload that file into the tax return. So a couple of ways of doing it. So it's entirely, I suppose, up to the tax agent in terms of doing that. What I mentioned about the notes, which I really like as working in tax. You can actually, as you're working through the tax return, and so you're filling out, say for example, the salary and wages label, and you're entering the details for the income from that employment, you can actually just add a brief description in this in the notepad. So say for example, go to salary and wages. Yeah, as you're filling this out, you can add a note, and then all those notes will then combine into this notepad. So for example, again with the deductions, I made a note about work-related expenses as I worked through the tax return, and I made a note to ask them about safety boots and protective clothing. So then what I can do is actually you can actually then download a PDF of this notes, so these few notes here, and then actually email that to the client and just say, well, dear client, can you please look at these few income tax related issues, your deductions, and get back to me. So it's as part of the process of working through the tax return. It gives you that option to nicely, without going outside the app. You can do it as you're working through. So it makes it far more convenient and far easier to record those notes and record those queries as you're working through. So it's a great time-saving feature, a great feature simply from a convenience point of view. Estimated tax payable, as I mentioned, is directly up here. So as you're adding income, obviously that tax payable will increase, etc., etc. You can view the tax estimate, so the detail behind the tax payable, just by clicking here. There's some excellent time-saving features in the new iTax return that is part of GovReports. And the other thing you'll actually do, so when you finalise the tax return, there's an option after dealing with all the errors and the warnings, you can actually then choose to save the tax return and then send that to the client and request a digital signature. And I'll actually just go through and explain how that works. Just with another example when we get onto that slide. So the second thing the second last feature I just wanted to quickly share, and I know we're running out of time, so we'll quickly move through this. So basically, there's an app attached to GovReports. So if you've got a GovReports subscription, you get access to IAM, which is the excellent accounting app that you can both you can import your client reports. If your client uses one of the other softwares such as Xero, MIB, or QuickBooks, you can import. We recommend the trial balance from that client's file into IAM, and then you can actually the accounts will be reconciled. So basically, you complete the financial statements, and then you push that data into the tax return. You can also get data into IEM through a bank feed, so you download the CSV from your bank transactions, and then you code those transactions, you reconcile, prepare draft accounts, prepare financial statements, and then you can push that data into the company tax return from IEM. So there's a direct link between IEM, the accounting app, and the company tax return. And then from there, you review the tax return and then send it to the client for signature. We did actually run a webinar about IEM last week, and you can access view that webinar recording on our website. Yeah, so I would recommend looking at that to get more information about IEM and how it can benefit your practice. So the final thing that we just want to, and again, we'll quickly touch on is digital authentication or digital signature, which is our, I suppose, the third part of the puzzle, or the third part of our offering that we, as part of the GovReports. So just quickly, I mean, the values or the, to you and your practice of using this feature or using this app, is it's fast, but so basically you get the client will get an email in their inbox to say that they've got a report ready to be reviewed and to sign, and it's easy for them to then sign it and then send it back to you. So it far beats the client, downloading the tax return, signing it, and then sending it back. The second great point is that it's a digital record. So it provides that electronic trail. And I suppose the third thing is that, digital signature or authentication is it's actually built into our income tax returns or BAS returns or other forms. So it's part of the process of actually it's there. As part of the process. You don't actually need to do anything further. It's a case of clicking a button and then sending that to the client. And I'll quickly just very quickly show you how that works. And yeah, the reason why I'm showing this to you, and I want to, I know we're near finishing, but I see great value in using this. It's great value for you as running your practice, but it's also great value for the client. It's more convenient for them. They know they've actually got a record of what they've signed, so it works for everyone. And I'll just wait for this to finalise processing, and I'll just quickly show you how that links in with the digital signature. So how the client's individual tax return that we've seen in front of us, how that then moves the next step to. So if we just click here, so we've got all the client records from the client, we've prepared the tax return, and now it's time to, we've saved it, now it's time to get the signature. So if we just click submit, and we're just waiting for that to push across into digital signature. Yeah, so just in summary, as we're just waiting for that. So I suppose a few of the key takeaways that we hope that you've learnt. I know we've packed a lot into the 50-60 minutes, and I trust it's been worthwhile. Certainly, if you have any questions, please send them through in the question box on the right hand side. Yeah, so I'll just divert a bit. So this is the digital signature dashboard, I suppose you would call it. So once you've completed the tax return, you've sent basically tick that box to say that send for digital signature. You will see this screen, and the tax return is automatically attached to this email, so you don't have to actually upload the tax return. You can see the recipients is Linda Stevens here, and then you can customize your message. So we have a message template that can be sent to your clients. So save you actually coming up with one. So I'll let you look at that further. But again, it's very simple, and it does actually give you that digital record and that history. So a very valuable part of the GovReports package and the offering.
Thanks, Jason. We did come, it was almost 6 o'clock. We almost went over time, or we went a little bit over time there. Apologies to those that have got to move on, but we do have a few questions, and I'd probably like to share. We have answered them during the sessions. So I think that's, we'll go through that shortly. Jason, I'll let you finish off.
Oh, certainly, yeah. So essentially, we're happy to share the recording for anyone that is interested. Please let us know, and we can more than happy again to share the slides. There is a 30-day trial that you can take up if you haven't already taken it up. And the final thing is that if you're not already a GovReports subscriber, we'd be delighted if you came on board and started using the app. And we've got a promotion just for today for you if you'd like to if you'd like to join us. And so sorry, Tiana, have you got the details there? Is it 20% off?
Yeah, we'll be sending out the emails through when we send the recording through, and if you not already are clients, you can certainly use the promotions to sign up. For those that are already in GovReports, thank you. It's like I said, it's great to be on. Apologies, like I said, I would assume that there's a few people there that I haven't. I don't think that you are already an existing client, but if you are already an existing client, just continue on. For those that would like to sign up from for today's after today's webinar, we'll just, like I said, we'll be sending out an email through, and you can use the promotions to sign up to get these promotion benefits. Before we go into the questions, just relating to the digital signature, we also have done a webinar thoroughly on how to use the digital signature, where there's a lot of features in there, packed in there. And if you want to visit our website and the webinars calendars page, you'll be able to scout through and have a look at whichever the topics that are relevant to you and explore that a little bit further. In each of the applications, of course, it's very simple to use, but sometimes there's features there you might not be aware of, and it's good, sometimes just to watch a little bit of it, and then you get an idea of how to use it. For example, the digital signature, the letters and templates, and specifically some of the new features that Jason has mentioned here, we have covered them in a few topics, in a few webinars topics that have done in the past. So what I'll do is I'll go through some of the questions that we have gone through during the questions now. I think, like I said, the templates for engagement letters, it is in the letters and templates. In your practice your My Practice what do you call it, menu from your dashboard. If you click onto that, you find letters and templates, and you can go in there, as Jason showed you earlier, you can see the letters and templates, the default templates that we have. You can customize them and you can create your own. Just use our template as a guidelines. There's office holders that you can use in there, so you get a preview so that when you attach it to the clients, it get your clients' names on it or their details on it, etc. And then there's the next questions from Roger, to include the budget to give staff guidance on estimated time, and if problems are encountered, discuss early with the client to ensure the write-off are minimized. This features is not yet available in GovReports, but we will consider and put on our client wish list to implement. We also had a questions offline relating to what was the questions that were sent to you yesterday, Jason?
About the tax file number being
Yes.
visible on the tax return.
Yeah, and Jason already mentioned that during the webinar, I remember. At the moment, if you prepare the tax returns, the tax file number is in there, and if you save the report and go to the Save Report profile, you'll be able to remove the tax file number by going to the Action tab and remove Report Identifier, and that will remove the tax file number from the report that has been generated, and you can then send email it to your clients to get it signed. And basically it's not there. But going forward from July, the default options will be the tax file number will not be there unless you request specifically set it up so that it will be in there. This is, as we start seeing more of an issues of tax file number passing around online, so this is to be a more secure way of going forward when you send off for digital signature or emailing to clients. The ATO services definitely is there. Jason has gone through that. We also have a request for feature additional contact element for video conferencing, contact details for the clients. We will analyze and have that, have our analyst to analyze that and see how we're going to include that into the clients. And certainly, since COVID, we can see that this is something that would be would be relevant for you when you are dealing with a client. Okay, and we do have a question on tax estimate for trust estate where no beneficiary presently entitled. Yeah, I
think let's get back to you on that one. Gemma.
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one, Roger, offline, as it can be a technical questions. Thank you. There is no other questions. So, Jason, do you want to? While we're waiting for someone, if you've got any other questions, please do let us know. If it is, even if it's off, after the sessions, just send it to us if we haven't covered the topics. And yeah, any other things?
I just want to say thank you very much for everyone to taking the time out after a busy day to listen in and be attentive and ask questions. And we hope that you got a few things out of the hour-long presentation. And certainly, there's a few features there that you think are certainly worthwhile and can make things a bit more efficient for your practice. There's certainly a lot to offer. There's a lot of great features, and it's I suppose it's you can't take in all of them at once, but I suppose it's just a case of working through one at a time and and enjoying the app at the same time. Yeah.
Cool. Again, if you have more questions or want to know more about what Jason has mentioned today, please don't hesitate to reach out to us either by email or telephone, or however it means easier for you. Well, that's all, folks. Thank you, Jason, and everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks very much, Tina, and thank you very much, everyone else.